Welcome to a reflection for Wednesday of the third week of Advent. Today is December 17th. And so the church makes a change the way in which she's praying. And so we know that Advent is 4 Sundays long, but the number of days varies year to year. It's not like Lent, it's always on Ash Wednesday and then draws to a close when we move into the Triduum. Because the 25th of December moves throughout the week. Sometimes we have an entire 4 weeks if we have a Easter or Christmas falling on Sunday. Sometimes, like this year, we have 3.5 weeks. When the church gets to December 17th, whatever we would have normally had for Wednesday, the third week of Advent and on, we get rid of and replace it with proper readings and prayers for December 17th on. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Everything shifts, and what we have now will always be on December 17th, no matter what day of the week it is, if that helps. I say that because we all know the beautiful hymn, O Come Emmanuel. It's a great hymn. We tend to sing it this time of year. That comes from evening prayer. So as a priest, I promise to pray 5 times a day: morning, middle of the day, evening, night, and then a fifth hour that I can put anywhere. Most priests put it early in the day. In evening prayer, we recite Mary's Magnificat when she's going to visit Elizabeth. Going before that and after it, we say an antiphon, much like we have our entrance antiphons or our communion antiphons that are tied into it. Here we have the O antiphons that begin today. Each one of them is the verse in O Come Emmanuel, and so that's a very liturgical prayer. You know that you hear me say over and over every year, don't enter into Christmas before it's actually Christmas, at least as best we can in the world in which we live. It's still Advent. So this is a very beautiful Advent hymn. But each one of these we will focus on in the next week. O come, Emmanuel, ransom captive Israel. O come, wisdom on high. O come, great Lord of might. Branch of Jesse's stem. Key of David. Bright and morning star. O King of the nations. Right? All these titles reference all the promises of old. It's a great pulling everything together. And I say that because our gospel today is one of the most boring gospels we have if you don't know the Old Testament, because it's the genealogy of Jesus. I love it because this is the first option for the gospel for Christmas Eve Mass, the one where we tend to have all the families and the kids. So we usually use this one time a year. You can count on me using the short option. But here, Matthew goes from Abraham to Jesus. It's in 3 sets of genealogies, or 3 sets of generations. Each one of these is 14 generations. And so, just like Roman numerals, these letters had numeric value. What Matthew is saying is Jesus is the fulfillment of the Davidic kingdom. All the promises of God's going to make you a great nation. You'll go out to the world. You'll be a great kingdom. All of that fulfilled in Jesus. And so in this week, especially as we make the transition to remembering and celebrating the birth of Christ as the first coming, and of course he will come again at the fullness of time, we look to this. And if you know your Old Testament, you see and hear some beautiful, wonderful people. You also see sinners. And of course, everybody's some mix of both, save our Blessed Mother. So for instance, we have David, great king, great leader. Also, we know his story of Bathsheba, murdering Uriah, right, her husband. But yet he reconciles. He gets back in right relationship with God. So all those things that we've been talking about. After the second one, because it's the Babylonian exile, again, where all the prophets right in that general area, they lost track of the genealogy. And so for a Jew at this time, they're going to hear the first 2 sets and think, all right, we know those people. Many of the people left, thought it was over, thought the tree had been cut off, we'd lost track of it. But Matthew continues on. And you get to this third section, this is where the idea of the stump of Jesse, and I may have mentioned this already, but they thought the family tree was cut down, but it didn't. When they thought it was dead, it was still alive. And the sprout from the stump of Jesse, as we just heard in one of these antiphons, is Jesus. The tree continued. It's a beautiful reminder, a beautiful thing to pray with, especially as we get into these final days. And these are days that we should really have anticipation. If you haven't decorated yet, now's the time to start getting things ready. Or if you'd make it a little bit of a process, slowly start putting some things out, sort of getting our house ready for a new child. Of course, many ways we can enter into the season, but this is a very exciting time. There's many ways we can pray the Liturgy of the Hours. iBreviary app. You can talk to myself or the deacons here. If you're watching this from somewhere else, talk to your clergy. Maybe it's a time to start praying that, or at least praying with the O antiphons or O Come Emmanuel, praying the many ways in which that is sung online. great time to try to just soak in the goodness of the promises God has made us and asking for the strength to help us persevere. God bless.